Let me ask you something honest. When was the last time you almost gave up on something, and then didn't? Maybe it was a business. A relationship. A dream you've been carrying for years. A version of yourself you kept trying to become. And somewhere in the middle of the fight, when the results weren't showing, when the people around you got quiet, when your own mind started whispering, maybe this just isn't for you, you thought about stopping. This video is for that moment. Because I need you to understand something that took me a long time to learn, and that most people never figure out until it's too late. The moment it feels hardest, is usually the moment you are closest. Here's something nobody tells you about the journey toward anything meaningful. Progress is not always visible. You can be working, grinding, showing up every single day, and see absolutely nothing on the surface. No results. No feedback. No sign that any of it is working. And the mind, being the survival machine that it is, starts to calculate. It says, effort in, nothing out. Maybe stop. Maybe this isn't the path. But here's what the mind doesn't see. Underneath the surface, things are moving. Think about a bamboo tree. For the first 5 years after you plant it, nothing happens. You water it. You tend to it. You protect it. And you see nothing above the ground. Nothing. 4 or 5 years. And then in year 6, it grows 90 feet in 60 days. Was it doing nothing for 5 years? No. It was building a root system so deep, so strong, that when it finally broke through, nothing could stop it. That's what your unseen seasons are doing. That's what your quiet years are building. You are not stagnant. You are rooting. I want to paint you a picture. Imagine a gold miner. He's been digging for weeks. Deeper and deeper into the earth, moving rock after rock, day after day. The work is exhausting. The tunnel is dark. There is no gold in sight. And one day, he stops. He drops his tools. He walks away. What he doesn't know, what he will never know, is that the gold was 3 feet ahead of him. 3 feet. That story isn't just a metaphor. That is the story of thousands of people who quit on businesses that were about to turn. On relationships that were about to deepen. On skills that were 3 months from mastery. On bodies that were 6 weeks from transformation. They stopped digging 3 feet from gold. And the tragedy isn't just what they lost. It's that they will never know how close they were. Here's the hard truth, the cost of quitting is invisible. You don't see what you would have had. You just feel the absence of it, vaguely, quietly, for years. There's a reason the final mile of a marathon is the hardest. It's not just physical. Every runner will tell you, miles 1 through 24, you're running with your body. Mile 25 and 26. You're running with something else entirely. That's where most people find out what they're made of. And here's what I've noticed, not just in running, but in life. The resistance always peaks right before the breakthrough. The business gets hardest right before it clicks. The relationship hits its deepest tension right before it either breaks or becomes something beautiful. The creative project feels most impossible right before the idea finally lands. It's almost as if life is testing you. As if the universe has a filter, and that filter is, how badly do you actually want this? Not how badly did you want it when it was exciting. Not when people were cheering. Not when it felt possible. How badly do you want it now, when it's hard, when it's quiet, when no one is watching, and when your own voice is telling you to stop? That is the test. And most people fail it not because they aren't capable, but because they don't recognize it for what it is. Don't fail the test by walking away right before the answer reveals itself. Let me give you something practical. Here are the signs, the real signs, that you are closer than you think. Sign 1, you're tired but you haven't stopped. Exhaustion is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of sustained effort. If you're still moving while tired, you are stronger than you know. Sign 2, you've gotten better. Even if the results haven't caught up yet. Results always lag behind growth. You can be significantly better than you were 6 months ago and still not see it reflected in your numbers, your income, your relationships. Trust the growth. The results are coming. Sign 3, the people around you are starting to doubt. This one sounds strange, but it's consistent. When people around you start pulling back, questioning your direction, quietly distancing. It often means you're moving into territory they can't see yet. Not everyone can see your finish line. That's okay. You don't need them to see it. You just need to keep running toward it. Sign 4, you're being tested on exactly the thing you've been building. When life suddenly challenges the very area you've been strengthening, your patience, your discipline, your faith, your consistency, that is not punishment. That is a final exam. You've been studying for this. Take the test. Sign 5. Something inside you still says keep going. Even when the logic says stop. Even when the math doesn't add up. Even when you can't explain it, there is still a quiet voice underneath all the noise that says not yet. Keep going. Listen to that voice. That voice knows something your fear doesn't. So when you hit that wall, and you will, here is what I want you to do. First, zoom out, not in. When everything feels impossible, we naturally zoom in. We stare at the problem up close until it fills our entire vision. Instead, zoom out. Remind yourself of how far you've already come. Look back at the version of you from 1 year ago. 2 years ago. That person would be amazed at where you are right now, even if where you are right now doesn't feel like enough. Second, shrink the goal, not the dream. If the finish line feels too far, you don't abandon the race. You just focus on the next step. Not the whole staircase. Just the next step. One more day. One more attempt. One more conversation. One more page. Small consistent actions are what compound into extraordinary outcomes. Third, find one person who has been where you are. Not someone who has never struggled. Find someone who stood exactly where you're standing, hopeless, exhausted, unsure, and kept going anyway. Let their story be your evidence that it's possible. Because it is. And someone else's proof is often what gives us permission to believe in our own. Fourth, recommit to the reason, not just the result. Results are slow. Reasons are immediate. Go back to why you started. Not the surface reason, the deep one. The one that lives in your chest. Reconnect to that, and the next step becomes possible again. I want to speak directly to you right now. I don't know where you are in your journey. I don't know what you've been building, or how long you've been at it, or how many times you've almost stopped. But I know this. You watched this video for a reason. Something in you is still fighting. Something in you hasn't let go. And that something, that is not weakness. That is the strongest thing about you. The fact that you're still here, still trying, still searching, still asking the question, means the story isn't over. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are in the middle of the story. And the middle of every great story looks like this: uncertain, difficult, unclear. Subscribe and comment. Thank you.